Hello, I am 33 weeks and 2 days pregnant today. Well, I'm just going to turn the heat off, it's noisy. Yeah, just over 33 weeks. And only 4 more weeks that I'm considered full term, although my due date is about 7 weeks away. And I'm still feeling pretty good. I haven't made a video in a while. Christmas kind of got me off my rhythm with the videos, and then my daughter's been not sleeping so well and waking up at 4 in the morning. And I've been so tired, I'm just trying to sleep any chance I can get. Yeah, so I wanted to make a video, at least a couple more hopefully before the birth though. I've been on the medicinal mushrooms for about 6 weeks now. I started with chaga and reishi, and then I added in a mushroom blend that also has cordyceps, maitake, shiitake, coriolis, and then the reishi and the chaga in the blend as well. So I'm still doing my medicinal teas with my herbs. And one thing that I've been realizing lately is that I think I've been using too much honey, and it's affecting my energy. So it's been my main sweetener lately, especially since I've been making all of these herbal tea decoctions, which I turn into these frothy almond milk kind of lattes, and it's nice to have them sweetened, but the honey is a little too much for me. I think it's making me crash, and I feel better, I think, when I don't use the honey. So dates even make me feel better than honey. But there are a lot of low glycemic sweeteners out there that I'm really interested in, so I'm going to start experimenting. And apparently, if you combine them instead of just using one, you can get more of a full-rounded, nice sweet taste. It's not too weird, no aftertaste, such as if you just use maybe stevia by itself. But if you use it in combination with other things like lucuma powder and xylitol powder, I don't know, there's a whole list of alternative sweeteners out there now. Yeah, so I'm going to start experimenting with that and see how I feel. I also didn't eat any fermented veggies for about a week because I made a batch of sauerkraut, and I didn't think that it turned out at first. I put it in the fridge and I kind of forgot about it for a week. But my digestion started feeling a little weird, and then the honey and the sugar, I started feeling really tired, and I ended up getting into that sauerkraut again and realizing, oh, it's actually pretty good, and it's adding it to my meals is definitely helping with digestion. So yesterday I just made this huge batch of fermented veggies, all different kinds, and they are fermenting right now, and in about 10 days I'll have this rainbow of fermented veggies to choose from. So that was kind of nice, taking a break and realizing how it makes a big difference to my digestion, keeping the fermented foods in my diet. Yeah, and then again, the bee products that aren't really working out so well, the honey, and then also twice now over the last 2 weeks, I've taken a teaspoon of bee pollen before bed. I just kind of swish it around in my mouth, and it has it's the most enzyme-rich food that there is, and it's a superfood. It's got tons of trace minerals, and it's a complete protein. So, you know, I hear it's so good for me, and I've been a little bit suspicious about me and bee pollen for a while now, just not sure, like just the taste of it kind of turns me off a little bit sometimes. And then the last 2 times I've done this teaspoon before bed, it's given me this crazy heartburn, as though I've just eaten this huge cooked food meal, and it feels like there's this brick in my stomach, and it's just very uncomfortable and kind of burns my throat a little bit. So I'm definitely off the bee pollen, at least it's not agreeing with me right now. Maybe I'll try again later and see if it has the same effect. One thing I'm really inspired by is the Taoist tonic herbs. I mean, I've been making my tea decoctions with some Western herbs, things like horsetail and nettle and oat straw, and I have been using one Chinese herb, astragalus, and then some Ayurvedic herbs such as ashwagandha and shatavari. Shatavari being particularly good for pregnancy. But I've been researching more and more about the other Taoist tonic herbs, things like Romania root, white atractylodes, poria mushroom. There's this whole list of them that are especially good for warming the spleen. And as a raw foodist, especially if you're living in a cold climate and a wet climate, raw foods are so moisture rich that they can, in Chinese terms, dampen the spleen. And that can cause a host of problems and just basically knock you off your balance. But if you combine raw foods with these warming spleen tonics, then what I've heard is it's a really amazing combination. And then these tonics can actually help you stay raw no matter what environment you're living in and what challenges you're faced with. And as well, they're amazing for the immune system. That's what they do, is they boost your immune system, give you tons of trace minerals and just this whole variety of plant constituents that you normally wouldn't get in your diet with your, everyday lettuces and things at the grocery store. So yeah, variety is definitely key, I think, for optimum health. And I'm excited to make a big order of these Chinese tonic herbs and start experimenting with them. I've heard that during pregnancy, in Chinese terms, once again, you leak a lot of Jing, which is your primordial essence. It's the energy that you're born with. It's passed down from all the previous generations to you, and you can never, once you use all of your prenatal Jing, that's it. You're done. Your life's over. But you can preserve it, and you can actually add to your Jing. There's another type of Jing that you can add to, and keep that savings account full. And you can do that with these nourishing tonic herbs. But childbirth is apparently a big Jing leak, so it will be nice to have a lot of these tea decoctions right after the birth to start rebuilding that and rebuilding blood and all that kind of thing. So that's the research that's really inspiring me right now, especially since I discovered this synergy between raw food and the spleen warming tonic herbs. I'm really excited to start trying that. Let's see, what else is going on with this pregnancy? Still juicing pretty much every day. I love my green juices, and adding a little bit of apple to the green juice with some lemon is lovely. So that feels really good. I'm still growing my sprouts and eating those, and doing some barley grass, which I can show you. This is my tray of barley grass. I like the taste of barley grass a lot more than I like the taste of wheatgrass. So I just juice this and make an ounce or two shot, and then add some freshly squeezed orange juice and lemon juice, and sometimes I dilute it with a bit of water. And that makes a really nice morning drink, especially to kind of start your metabolism going and get something green into the body first thing. Another thing that I found makes a really big difference to how I feel, my digestion, is drinking the water first thing in the morning. And sometimes I put lemon in it, sometimes chlorella, sometimes a little apple cider vinegar, but just making sure I drink a lot of water first thing is really important for me right now. Makes me feel hydrated, flushes the system, keeps everything regular. And I'm taking my another B12 supplement every morning. I got some blood results back, and my B12 levels are up incredibly high now compared to what they were. So I think I started in the low hundreds, and I went up to 147, but now I'm up to like 292, so my B12 is doing great. My iron levels, on the other hand, my hemoglobin is up a tiny bit. I think it was 119, now it's 120. That's the circulating iron in the blood, but my iron stores, which are my ferritin, are actually still decreasing. I think I started out at the first blood test around 20, and then they went down to 10, and now they're down to 6. So my midwife was a little concerned and wants me to keep doing my best to put iron in my body, but I'm not really sure what else I can do. I'm almost just tempted to forget about it and just keep doing what I'm doing, because I feel pretty good. I'm doing camu berry, the vitamin C powder with a lot of the iron-rich foods. I'm taking in a ton of plant-based iron, which I know isn't as absorbable as the animal-based, but I feel like I'm doing everything I can within my comfort zone. And I've been looking at a few studies, and they actually don't have any studies showing that, well, basically they show that a drop in the iron stores in a pregnant woman is normal, obviously, because the baby is needing the iron, especially during the third trimester. That's when the baby takes most of the iron from the mother. But the studies show that there's not really an increased risk in any detrimental birth outcomes from a woman who's got a lower ferritin level. And there's actually worse birth outcomes for women who have too high of a ferritin level. And so, I mean, there's some speculation about that and why that might be. And it could be, you know, if the mother's ferritin's not dropping, it means that the baby's actually not getting what they need. So I'm kind of at this point after reading some of these studies where I feel like the numbers might not be that important. I just have to use my intuition and, you know, trust that I'm feeling good. I'm eating this wide variety of amazing organic living food. Like, I just don't know how my diet could really be any better at this point. I'm supplementing. I've also been on these Omega Zen 3 DHA and EPA supplements for about 6 weeks, taking one of those a day. So those are the long chain omega-3 fatty acids, which are really important, I hear, for baby's brain health. So that's why I'm taking that. You know, my vitamin D, as I said, my vitamin B12 is great. Let's see, and sometimes I'm taking a vitamin K2 supplement, although I'm not really sold on that one. I'm not really sure. Apparently, you know, as a raw vegan, you get tons of vitamin K1, but there's been this newfound body of research about the importance of vitamin K2. And some of your K1 gets converted naturally in the body into K2. But apparently it's important for a baby's growth, and it's a good idea to supplement during pregnancy if you're not eating animal products. And the supplement that I have is created from a fermented soybean, but it's not miso. It's actually called natto, N-A-T-T-O, and it's a different kind of fermented product, but that's what the supplement's made from, and that is the highest known food in vitamin K2 out of any food. So most of the supplements are made that way, actually. So I'm taking that one, not every day, because I'm trying to eat my fermented veggies every day, which they do have a little bit of K2 in them as well, fermented vegetables. Yeah, so I'm taking that one sometimes and doing my yoga in the evenings. The stretching feels really good, and my midwife suggested doing downward dog fairly often to get the baby head down and in position and ready to go. I've got an appointment in 2 days, so we can check the position of the baby. Last time the baby was going head down, but it was more of an angle. It wasn't directly. Yeah, so I'd be curious to see if the baby's in position. But I mean, everything else seems to be going great. My blood pressure and, you know, the size of my belly, everything's kind of measuring up to the standard charts and everything so far. Yeah, so about the whole iron thing, I think I'm just going to let it go and not, you know, I don't think stressing about that, or, you know, there's been a lot of adverse pregnancy outcomes too with women supplementing excess iron. There's been studies showing that all this extra iron supplementation can actually cause a lot of problems in pregnancy. So it's funny how we kind of get things backwards because we're so focused on the numbers. There's definitely a time and a place for supplementation of everything, but I think people need to really do the research and check in with their own intuition and how they're feeling, and yeah, and see if there's any signs of anemia or any real symptoms that need to be addressed. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'll give you an update, hopefully at least once or twice more before the birth.